Hey everybody, it is Nathan Selove, and it is April, which means that it is Autism Acceptance Month. So that hopefully means that there are a lot of people that are going to be Googling autism or researching autism or trying to learn more about autism. And to help with that effort, I have made a video of 5 things that neurotypicals can do in order to become better allies for the autism community. So if you're autistic, you might share this video with some of your neurotypical friends, or if you're a neurotypical, you might watch it, learn from it, and also share it with some of your neurotypical friends. So, number 1, from awareness to acceptance. So you might have noticed at the beginning of this video that I referred to April as Autism Acceptance Month rather than just Autism Awareness Month. And the reason for this is that even though awareness is really important, acceptance should be the ideal goal. So those of us that are on the autism spectrum, we're already aware of our own autism. And many people are also aware of autism and some of the symptoms and some of the struggles that people on the autism spectrum go through. And that's great, and that's the first step. But that can't be the end-all be-all. What really needs to happen is creating a world in which the unique perspective of autistics is accepted and even celebrated. So try to make your goal not just becoming more aware of autistics, but accepting who autistics are. Number 2, support organizations that are actually represented by autistics. So there are a lot of organizations that are primarily run by neurotypicals. One of the biggest examples that I often talk about on this channel is Autism Speaks. And there are a lot of very well-meaning people that support Autism Speaks. However, it's important to note that the organization has a board of directors of like 25 people, and of those 25 people, like 2 of them are actually on the autism spectrum. That is not representative of us. That means that they are doing things about us without us, and that's just not okay. In a lot of ways, autism acceptance and autism neurodiversity is a social movement. And like all social movements, it needs to be primarily driven by those of us who actually are in the community. So support organizations that are actually about us, with us. For example, the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network is one of my personal favorites. When you're looking at potential autism advocacy organizations to support, try to see how representative they actually are by actual autistics. Number 3, make sure during Autism Acceptance Month that you aren't telling autistics how to identify themselves. Here's what I mean by that. Oftentimes when I refer to myself as autistic or an autistic to other people, they will often try to correct me and be like, oh, no, you're a person with autism. This is referred to as person-first language. So the idea behind this, in some ways, is well-intentioned. The idea is that you're not defined by your disability. You are a person before your disability. But here's the thing about that. In a lot of ways, I am actually defined by my disability. I would not be me without it. Autism is an integral part of my personality. It's an integral part of who I am. And if you take it away, then I'm not really who I am anymore. So I don't mind just being referred to as an autistic. And a lot of people who are autistic also prefer to just be referred to as autistic. And another point to make about that is the only difference between person with autism and autistic is the word person. And if we're implying that you need that qualifier, then we're implying that autistics aren't people to begin with, which is problematic in and of itself. Now that being said, there might be some autistics that do prefer person-first language, and you really should respect that too. So listen to how an autistic identifies themselves and try to mimic that, but don't tell autistics how they should identify themselves. Number 4. Strike phrases like "you don't look autistic" out of your vocabulary. I understand that phrases like that are well-intentioned because, autism is a disability and disability is bad. So if you don't look like a disability, then that must be a good thing, right? Well, not exactly. Like I said before, a lot of those of us on the spectrum really prefer the idea of being accepted, which means that not only are we being accepted, but our autism is being accepted. So brushing it aside with a "you don't look autistic" kind of gets in the way of that acceptance. Furthermore, there are a lot of struggles that come from being autistic. And simply brushing that aside and saying, well, you don't look autistic is kind of overarching. It's kind of patronizing because you're basically saying that because I don't see your struggles or because you look like you could pass for myself, that maybe those struggles aren't as intense. And that can be insulting in and of itself. So avoid saying things like, you don't look autistic. And honestly, that can go for any disability. Avoid saying things like, you don't look disabled. And finally, number 5, when you are researching autism, make sure the bulk of your research is focused on actual autistics. So there are a lot of autism caregivers and autism parents out there that have blogs or vlogs, and they have a lot of really interesting things to say about their experiences with raising someone on the autism spectrum. And I'm not saying that those perspectives are meaningless. I'm not even saying that you shouldn't look at those perspectives. However, remember, the primary focus of April should be autism acceptance. And the way that you really accept autistics is by humanizing them, by understanding that their experiences are the most important part of autism acceptance. Not just the experiences of those around us, but our experiences. So make sure that when you are looking at potential research about autism, look at blogs and vlogs and articles written actually by autistics. Make sure that that is the primary focus of your research. So there we have it. Those are 5 things that you can easily incorporate into your life to help become a better ally for the autism community during Autism Acceptance Month. So that is today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a like, a share, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Check out some of my other stuff. And if you want to support the channel in other ways, you can support me on Patreon, and I'm also on Twitter, so you can follow me at Selove. And you will see me in the next one.